Joining us today on Inspiring Ideas for the Classroom, we have Melissa Newcomb. Melissa is a 7th grade science teacher at Hauser Jr. Senior High School. So welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We appreciate you taking time chatting with us about the things that you're doing in your classroom. And well, let's start with that. I know that Sarah was telling me through communication there that she'd seen that you were doing some projects and stuff, having students do projects.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with that?
Okay, so of course this remote learning thing came upon us pretty fast, and so we didn't have a whole lot of time to be scrambling around and finding stuff. Our admin had asked us to try to avoid having just worksheets because that's boring for everybody. So one of the typical things that I do with my class anyway are cell models, because they're learning the organelles of the cell, the different parts of the cell. And usually I've done them in the past where kids have made models at school and brought in art supplies and things like that. But this time, a lot of my kids are stuck at home. A lot of my kids don't have much control over whether or not they can go to a store. So we changed the project up a bit. And I allowed them to find anything around the house or property that they could use to make into cell. And I got some really awesome examples from them after we put it out. So I did an example for them because, you know, kids always need an example so they can kind of see what they're going for here. So I used a big stump outside, and I got like rocks as organelles and pine cones and a baling twine and dandelions and lots of things to be the different organelles. And then I put a label on the stump, and then I took a picture. And we know all the kids have iPads, so all of them are able to take a picture. So their product to turn into me was a picture of their cell. And I got some really awesome ones. It was a lot of fun to see the creativity.
That's excellent. And
yeah.
then for uploading the picture, do they upload it to, do you have a learning management system like Canvas or Google Classroom, or what are you using?
They have us use Canvas, and so we use that. And so I just had an assignment portal where they could upload that photograph, and then they had to make me a key for all the organelles and what their functions were. But I had some great ones. I had several that made beautiful cakes. I wish I was at their house to eat them because they were gorgeous. One was a big brownie with all the stuff, and that was fun. I had one that used his breakfast. So the waffle was like the nucleus, and carrots were some of the organelles. One girl, I just love this girl. She's really sweet and quiet. She got a mountain bike at Christmas, and she was so excited about her mountain bike. So she made the bicycle tire into a cell and had different parts on the bicycle tire. And I love that because it highlighted her interest in her bicycling, which was fun. Another one I really loved was this kid who's very much a hunter. He does archery. He's on the archery team. He's always out in the woods. He's wearing camo all the time. And so his was on a table, and he had, as the nucleus was a roll of toilet paper, which I thought was very appropriate right now. You know, our whole world's kind of revolving around that anyway. And he had batteries on there as organelles, and I don't know, there was some kind of tape, like police tape around it, like do not cross as the cell membrane. It was just really funny. It was such a man's man kind of cell, you know, it was funny.
I like that.
It was neat. I've got pictures I could send you if you want to see some of the pictures of them. They don't have the kids' names or anything, but
oh yeah, send a couple. I'll crop them into the video.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. That'd be good. Put some examples.
That would be awesome.
I'd like that. So what other things have you been doing that's working out, or what didn't work too?
Well, I did a survey actually to see if the kids wanted to do Microsoft Teams, which is kind of like Zoom. We were advised not to do Zoom because, of course, all the Zoom bombing that we're getting right now, right, in the world with people busting into your Zoom classroom. I wasn't really excited about Microsoft Teams because it has a few drawbacks. You can only see up to 4 people, and so if I have a class of 20, I could only see a few. And also the kids could make little comments off to the side that I can't see, which seemed like poor classroom management. So I wasn't real wild about that, but I sent out a survey because I was going to do it if they wanted. But a lot of the 7th grade kids, young teenagers, aren't real wild about showing their face to everybody if they didn't choose to. So they weren't real wild about that. So I did do Screencastify lectures, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
So that's where you've got the PowerPoint and then my little face over here. And I think I had a lot of feedback that that was helpful to see me being all crazy and moving my hands around and watching my expressions while I did the lectures. I also put up some, cool interactive websites, of course, for them to go to. But then in May, this month, we've put up some interactive enrichment stuff, and I found some neat stuff on learning the frog calls of Indiana. There's a DNR website you can go to and click on the different frogs and learn their calls, and I thought that would be cool to get them outside, and to make a botany book, so to start collecting samples outside and make a botany book. I actually did an extra credit project through this where I wanted the kids to find a common plant outside and take a picture and find out the info about that. And I got a few of them that were interested in doing that too. So I'm hoping to make that part of the curriculum next fall when we're hopefully together again.
Now, what other things
Those are great ideas.
What other things did you ask your students about when you surveyed them? Was it just teams, or did you ask them about other things?
Oh, I asked them quite a few things. I asked them, you know, if the videos were working well, of course, if things were working well for them. I also asked them if they wanted to see me do a lecture rather than just get written notes, and they did. Most of them preferred me to give them a lecture where they could listen to my voice, and that was nice to know that they wanted that. And then I asked them, you know, how they were doing, how were they doing at home, and how was things going. And how they liked e-learning. And it's always surprising to me how many of them, you know, I think they're really appreciating that school isn't as bad as they thought, because they want to see their friends and they prefer to do schoolwork with the teacher there to help them. And I don't know that they realized they felt that way until all of this. So that was neat. And, you know, a lot of them are stressed. They don't like trying to do this at home. They don't like trying to do e-learning at home. And even though we all tried so hard to pare down the work and put it all in one place, for a lot of them it was really stressful. So it was good. I love getting the feedback from them to kind of see how they're doing and what's up. So that's cool.
What kind of response rate would you say that you're getting from your students? Are you hearing back from most of them, about halfway? Like what would you estimate?
Good question. Oh, well, we're at a really small school, and you have to, of course, remember these are 7th graders, and so there's a different level of maturity than we're going to have with high schoolers. But I would say I'm hearing back probably from about 75% of them regularly, I would say. And there's probably a handful, I've got 87 7th graders, and of those, I probably had 10 or 20 that were real good about regularly checking in with me. And one of them in particular was like, Dr. Newcomb, I really liked your video. Thank you so much. Or Dr. Newcomb, I took notes on your video and I did that. And she was great, you know, about talking to me. So we're getting pretty good response, but there are still out here in the countryside a lot of kids who don't have internet. So we're trying to reach out to them with paper assignments. And then there's some that are not real good at getting things done. You know, they procrastinate and they don't always remember to go back. So
with that classroom structure, the lack of interactive structure, some of them, they just have to have that because they don't have the environment at home to be able to push them to do it. So it's
right.
Numbers.
And a lot of them that said they were not doing any schoolwork until like 1 or 2 in the morning. I was like, oh my gosh, as a mother, that's just like, why aren't you in bed? But they're preteens, they're teenagers, you know how they are.
Those are good percentages, though. A lot of the teachers that we're communicating with on forums and stuff, they're struggling to get a number of students, and so you're getting pretty good percentages. Especially once you put in the factor of a really low bandwidth for some kids or no bandwidth for some kids, and so when they can have someone, especially they're too young to drive, when they can have someone take them somewhere to download what they need or upload, your percentages are quite good. You'd be very happy with that.
Thank you. Well, you know, it was definitely a learning curve. I mean, the first week I tried so hard to get those cool interactive websites and go to this video, and I wanted to do an ed puzzle and all the cool tech, you know, and I realized that some of these kids just couldn't access it. They couldn't open Google Docs. I mean, I love Google Docs, So I really had to change the way I was doing things. So then I went to almost exclusively using the Canvas platform and embedding the videos and embedding the questions and not having them go to a second website because some of them just couldn't get there. And so part of my survey was, did it work better this week? Because so many of them were like, I can't even get the assignment to open. And I've got 4 kids. I know how frustrating that is. You know, I've dealt with my kids saying that for years. So we really had to change it up as we went.
That's excellent feedback. I appreciate hearing that. Where I think my school systems, my kids are in a similar boat as you. We're a small rural, not a lot of bandwidth. I struggle a little bit with that as well. So I completely hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely has taught me a lot. You know, you really get that steep learning curve when you got to do it. But I'm already planning over the summer to probably go ahead and screencastify all of my lectures. So I've got them canned so that if we are remote or if we are on every other day, I can still go ahead and put those up as a resource so those kids have those right away. And they're not waiting on me to get them made. So I'm trying to prep for next year, or even if there's a sick kid and they miss my lecture, you know, it's a great resource to have if I've got that video already canned and ready to go.
And I don't know if you saw this announced or not. Just yesterday, I saw it announced that you can now directly upload Screencastify right into Edpuzzle. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but I think before you had to yeah. So that's kind of, I thought, oh, that's really cool. So they finally made that
cool.
where it works now. So.
Yeah, right now what I'm doing is uploading it to YouTube because YouTube embeds really well right into Canvas. So I'm right there. But that's a great tool. I just need to learn better how to get my reports from Edpuzzle so I actually know who's done it. So I gotta work on
that.
Great.
Good resources. The videos that you're making though, how are you, I know you're using Screencastify, but how are you doing those and what are you doing for those?
Well, I'd already made
someone who hadn't done it, walk someone through how to do it.
Yeah, sure. I'd already made my PowerPoints. And my PowerPoints for my 7th graders usually have like some words highlighted in red that are the ones they're writing in their guided notes because some of my kids have guided notes. So they're already set up to be very few words and a lot of visuals because that's how I do my notes anyway. And I try to tell a lot of fun stories or relevance or something to make it more personal for them. So it helps if they can see my face and see what I'm talking about. So Screencastify is great because they see the whole PowerPoint taking up the whole screen. I can still move the mouse around and move the cursor so I can point at a picture or a word and they can see the cursor moving there, which is great. I can also click on one video. I clicked on a video within the PowerPoint to get it running and I was able to stop it and talk them through what was happening in the video. But at the same time, my face can be embedded talking like I am with you right now down in the corner. And then if they miss it or don't understand it, they can always go back and watch it again. And my lectures usually last between 6 minutes and I think the longest one was 20. I was talking about stem cells and those are just too exciting to not talk longer. So I try to make them no more than 15 minutes normally because we don't expect kids to have that much, attention span past that for one thing.
This is true. I can't argue with that one bit. That's why we're doing these shorts, because teachers don't have attention span beyond that either sometimes. We're kids, aren't we?
Yep. Well, and that, you mentioned that, and that is an interesting point because I just finished my master's degree back in 2017, and it was at UIndy, and it was big into teaching us a lot of technology. And being a student who's doing online remote learning, I had classes in person, but still a lot of our resources were there. I was overwhelmed with where do we see that and which platform was it on and what website was it? So I can really commiserate with the kids when they can't keep track of where it's all coming from, because even me, being much more mature, age-wise, I couldn't keep track of where everything was. So I really wanted to streamline it for them.
that's a good experience that you were able to bring back to them, so to realize, because that's a problem that a lot of people had. I know you mentioned before, when it all got thrown at you, you had all these different things that you wanted to be able to do. Then and it's like, well, wait a minute, they're going to struggle. They're struggling to be able to do this and that, and then you can reflect back on your experiences, recent experiences, to, oh yeah, that is pretty overwhelming, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's stressful for us being thrown into it, but the kids are too.
Yeah.
So excellent. Well, we appreciate you taking time. Sarah, did you have one more? Sorry.
Nope. I was just going to tell you, thank you so much. We appreciate your feedback and your time.
Well, thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you guys, and thanks for doing what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Oh, well, we appreciate you taking time sharing what you know and what you've done with other teachers. That's how we're going to get through all of this, is helping each other.
That's right.
Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
An outstanding
on
review.
iTunes or your preferred podcast player.
Tweet us your science questions.
At Purdue SOS.
Until next time, be super, and remember,
You are someone's hero.
boiler up.
Hammer down.